Jersey Shore podcast. Today, we've got a packed show from breaking news to topics that will keep you informed. So please click the subscribe button to get notified of upcoming episodes. If you like what the Hammer talked about, then share the Jersey Shore podcast to others. Damon also looks forward to your comments during this episode. Tonight's Jersey Shore podcast starts now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Jersey Shore podcast. That's S-U-R-E because we are always shore. We have a special podcast tonight. We have a lot of great guests that are going to be coming on. I'll introduce them as it comes along. And this is brought to you by the great America's Pulse Network. So first, I want to talk about the breaking news. I'm sure many of you have heard. If you haven't, the other airman was found in Iran. They had a big operation. They went and picked him up, got him out. If you guys want to look it up, you'll see it. It was pretty amazing how they went and rescued him, and how they our government and our military is fantastic. I mean, what they can accomplish. Now, I'm not saying like I don't like wars, and nobody does. But what we're doing right now, what we can do is amazing, and it just shows you today what we can accomplish with our military might and our strategic moves. So that is some of the breaking news right there. But first, I want to go into a real quick monologue, and I want to introduce everybody that's coming on tonight, which is great guests. I'm looking forward to this big time. So I just want to say tonight is not a typical political show. This is not polished talking points. This is not consultants whispering in anyone's ear. And this is definitely not the kind of conversation you're going to see on corporate media. Tonight is real. Tonight is New Jersey. Tonight is people who actually stepped up. Because let's be honest about something right out of the gate. All right. Running for office is not easy. It's not glamorous. It's not safe. And it is definitely not something you do unless you truly believe something in this country or in this state needs to change. And right now, a lot of things need to change. Across New Jersey, people are feeling it every single day. The cost of living, taxes, bills, public safety, education, the direction of our communities. People are working harder than ever and getting less in return. Families feel it. Small businesses feel it. And parents feel it as well. And the biggest frustration I hear everywhere I go is simple. People feel like they're not being heard. So tonight, we change that. Because what you're going to see here is something different. You're going to hear directly from your candidates across the state who are stepping up and saying enough is enough. People who are putting their names on the ballot, taking the hits, putting in the work, and choosing to fight for the people that they want to represent. Not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. We have candidates here tonight running for Congress, running for U.S. Senate, at all different parts of New Jersey, all different backgrounds, but all united in one thing. They are willing to step up into the arena. And that matters because nothing changes unless people are willing to step forward and take that responsibility. So here is tonight's show that we're going to work with. It's going to be great. So I'm going to bring on each candidate one at a time, give them a couple minutes to introduce themselves directly and tell you who they are, why they're running, what they stand for. And then we're going to bring everyone back together at the same time. So there's no scripts, no filters, just real conversation about issues that matter, the direction of the state, and what needs to happen next. This is about giving the people of New Jersey a voice. This is about letting you hear directly from the individuals that are asking for your vote. And this is about making sure that this election is not decided by headlines, narratives, or political machines. It is decided by the people. So let's get into it. Let's start bringing on the candidates. So first one. Here we go. We got Justin Murphy for U.S. Senate. Hey, Justin, how you doing? You've been on here many times, so you know the drill. But hey, listen, tell people who you are, why you're running. Let's get into it.
Damon, good evening. It's always a fun time to be here and a pleasure to be on your show. And I know I see how much hard work you put in for your campaign and to get out the conservative voice platform. And can't thank you enough. But we're doing on the trail here. June 2nd is our primary. We will be nominating someone to run against Cory Booker for our U.S. Senate seat. And hopefully that'll be me. You can look me up, as you got shown here, Jersey Justin, number 4. JerseyJustin4Senate.org. JerseyJustin4Senate.org, and the 4 is the number 4. My Senate pledge is on there, and links to my X account, Instagram account, YouTube channel, and soon to be TikTok account. So we're out knocking doors, walking neighborhoods, trying to raise some money. Got a big event coming up. Please, everyone is welcome. April the 18th, Saturday night, at the Buds Farm in Pemberton. We're going to have a big dessert-infused campaign rally with all the cheesecake and key lime pie you can eat. With a campaign rally, hopefully we had a nice night without bad weather, and we'll use it as a big momentum springboard midway through the month, and hopefully raise a little money and just keep pushing through that June 2nd primary.
Yeah, no, awesome. Bud's Farm is awesome. I was there before. We live streamed there. If you remember the America's Pulse Network podcast, we went up there. But all right, Justin, well, thank you. We're going to go to the next candidate to bring that in on. We got Jason Cullen coming up here. Justin, go in the back room. And Jason, how you doing? You've been on before as well. So introduce yourself. Let people know how to find you, why you're doing this, why you're running. 1 to 2 minutes.
Absolutely. Damon, listen, thank you again for having me, man. I always appreciate it. Always have a good time hanging out with you on here, man. It's always a blast.
No problem, as always.
So Jason Cullen, I'm running for Congress in New Jersey District 3, and that covers most of Burlington County, a little bit of Monmouth County and Mercer County. Look, I'm not doing this because it's my turn or I'm part of a political club, right? I'm doing this because people in this country are getting crushed every single day, right? And the folks we're sending to Washington, and they're not fixing a damn thing, right? Housing, healthcare, education, utilities, food, everything costs more and more every day, right? And it's getting tougher just to live your life, just to take care of your family. And the people that we keep sending down to DC, they're out of touch and nobody is holding them accountable. So, Damon, my focus is simple. It's affordability and accountability, okay? Affordability so working families in our district can actually get ahead instead of just scraping by month to month. And accountability because we need to go after the waste, the corruption, the backroom deals, and replace these out-of-touch political class with regular people who are just sick of this garbage and ready to fight back. So I'm tired of watching my district being ignored, so I'm running to take this fight to Washington. I want to deliver real results for the people who actually live here and understand what we're actually going through.
I love it, man. I love it. I love your passion. So, all right, we'll go throw you in the back room for a second, and we'll bring on the next candidate. We have Hillary Herzig coming up. Hillary, thank you for coming on the podcast. So, for the first time having you on, it's a pleasure. Thank you very much. So, same thing. Introduce yourself and let people know why you're running and what your passion is.
Thank you so much, Damon, for having me on the Jersey Shore podcast. I'm really excited to be on your podcast, and I see what you're doing, and I want to commend you for the work you're doing in your own race as well. I think it's really important that we have Republican voices out there speaking for everyone. So my name is Hillary Herzig. I'm running in Congressional District 6 for U.S. House. I'm running as a mother, as a wife, and as someone who loves my community. I believe that families in this community deserve better. And like so many people here, I really just see the pressure that families are under every day, the rising costs, the high property taxes, the utility bills. There's real concerns about the future. For instance, my children and your children and all of our children will inherit. Will they be able to live here like we grew up here? Will that be a reality for them? I decided to run because we can't expect change if we do not change our representation. Incumbency has always been a difficult issue. It's a difficult challenge. But if we truly want change in Washington, we have to change who we send there. And we can't do that by sending the same person 37 years, 19 election cycles in my district. I believe Frank Pallone has been sent to Congress. That's not going to make change. What is important to me also is term limits, because the president has term limits, the governor has term limits, Assembly doesn't have term limits, Senate doesn't have term limits, House doesn't have term limits, and that's where the change occurs. The change occurs with the people who make the legislation. So until we change the incumbents who have been in there for 30 plus years, we're not going to see that change at home. So I can say this. I am not a person that's going to bow to political machines. I am not going to bow to corruption in Congress. I will call it out on either side, on the Republican side, on the Democrat side. I don't care if there's corruption going on down there and you send me as your representative, you better believe I'm going to expose it. And I'm going to say everything, that I find. And I'm going to be a representative for everyone in my district, not just Republicans, but Democrats, independents, libertarians, everyone. So tonight I'm just asking everyone in District 6, let's make this year be the year that we take back District 6 for real representation. Let's do something hard and go with change. This campaign is not about a seat. It's about change. It's about change for our district. It's about change in our country. And we're not going to get change with the same old incumbents. It's just not going to happen. So that's what I have to offer. And I'm ready to get in there and really make some change. And I'm open to conversations with everyone in my district.
All right. Awesome. Thank you, Hillary. Thank you very much. All right. Well, we'll put you in the back room, and we got one person left. We got GreggMele is going to come on. Gregg, how are you doing? Thanks for coming on.
Good, thanks. Good to see you. How you doing?
Good. So same deal as everybody else. Introduce yourself, tell people where to find you, and why you're in this fight.
Sure. GreggMele, running for Congressional District 12 in New Jersey, and the website, which is partially shown there, www.mele4america, which is MELE, the number 4 in America.com. Basically, I mean, I've looked at running for office because I really came from nothing and achieved the American dream. I had the good fortune of doing well in school. I wound up sticking with it for a long time, did a lot of degrees, and studied particularly public finance and budgets, things like that, actually from local up to national. So, of course, affordability is one of my big issues. And otherwise, it is the transparency. I've been an anti-corruption candidate ever since I started this venture. And, it's really important that also, like Hillary said, the term limits. The reason that people get corrupt is because they are still able to get many, many decades entrenched into the system. So they build up enough illicit funds to crush primary competition, and then they just vilify the other side in the general, and they have an easy walk through, re-election after re-election. So we've got to break that cycle. I certainly will self-term limit if it doesn't become a rule, but I will also be promoting that as a piece of legislation all the way through.
Awesome. I like it. I agree with you there too. I think there should be term limits. What bothered me the most was the No Kings rally. Trump has term limits, but my opponent, Donald Rocross, does not. So he was at the No Kings rally. So all right,
they don't want to look in the mirror. So
no, of course not. But there's one more candidate. I think there's. Oh wait, that's me. So I'm Damon Galdo. So I'm running for Congress, as you all know, all the listeners out there. And thank you for joining us. Everyone pretty much knows where I stand. I could just say whatever they just said. I'm on board with that. But we're going to get into a nice discussion here, an open forum. And we're going to take a real quick, 30-second break with an ad. And then we're all going to come on together and we're going to have an open forum. So let's take that break.
Hey, it's great to be on with you. This is a great podcast. It's a lot of fun and it's informative and it's real information. It's none of the frills and none of the nonsense that you hear on the legacy media, just telling the story of what's happening right now. It's what I do with my newsletter that I get out to anybody who wants to see it. It's what you're doing with this podcast. America needs to know what the real deal is, and you're the real deal.
And again, as always, thank you for that, Jeff. I really appreciate that plug that you gave me. Jeff's a great guy, man. He gave me a 32-minute interview. When I asked him to come on, he said, sure. I thought it was going to be like a Fox News interview where he's on there for like 5 minutes. He gave me like a full, 32-minute interview. I was like, wow, it was great. It was a good time, though. Jeff is a good guy. But so, guys, let's open it up. I'm going to just ask one simple question, and we can go over the room. I'll go with ladies first. We'll start in one sentence. What's the biggest problem in New Jersey right now? And I'll start with you, Hillary. Ladies first.
Illegal immigration.
Well, that's just solid.
I gave it to you in 2 words.
Yeah.
It literally affects every part of our economy here in New Jersey. It is why we have high taxes. It is why we have high insurance. It is why we have high utility bills. Everything goes back to one thing. It's supply and demand. And when the demand comes over, unvetted, over our border and floods into our state, because now we have a sanctuary state, right? It affects everything. So we need to bring back the meaning and dignity in citizenship. And right now in our state, that's not happening. And New Jersey taxpayers and New Jersey residents and American citizens are paying for it.
You're right. $7.3 billion a year for being a sanctuary state. $7.3 billion. And I say this all the time, and I don't care. I'll beat a dead horse. I'll say it all the time. If we were to recoup that money, not because my property taxes are going up about $2,000 a year in June, and if we recoup that money for the 30 or 3.6 million homes, wherever it is in New Jersey, you could lower everyone's property taxes by over $2,000 a year if we didn't spend that $7.3 billion. So that just something to look at, everybody that's listening. Like, sanctuary state goes away, no paying for illegal immigrants. We get to save money and actually live comfortably. So I want to go to the next one. I see Arlene is up there posting a lot of stuff. Thank you, Arlene, for hi, Justin, Jason. Good luck, Hillary, and Gregg. Good to see you again. Gregg, I'm sure you know Arlene. So Gregg, I'll go to you next. I mean that I agree with Hillary. That's one of the biggest problems. It's illegal immigration. But what do you think will be the next biggest problem? Unless you want to elaborate on that.
Well, I mean, I do want to acknowledge. I mean, Hillary hit it right on the nail on the head. That it's the cause and effect. Basically, the illegal immigration is causing a lot of our other problems. Especially, I mean, to me, as an attorney, I feel like declaring a sanctuary anything is treason. It is against your oath of office. You should be removed. You should be jailed. And I just don't understand the tolerance for something that is obviously already against the law. There is no debate or argument that really should be happening, but somehow we find ourselves having to try to justify what is already the law. And it's really tough for me as an attorney to deal with those kind of situations. But tying to the other topic she brought up was the affordability, basically, and the economy. I think the difficulty we have. It's mainly that in the tremendous cost we have to pay, but also it does tie into the term limits and the transparency, which is another big issue. If government was more transparent, we wouldn't have things like Minnesota and California now with all of that corruption. And also with the term limits, people would not have decades in office to build up an illegitimate pot of gold that they can use to crush primary opponents. And then, I mean, thanks to media that has their slant too. I mean, a lot of general elections have a pre-built-in slant against one party as the devil, basically, in most districts. And so we have to get rid of all of that too, and get where we can get our message out and meet the people where they are and have them understand we are real people here running. We are not putting on a show like many people already in Congress, and we have to get in to really make this thing change.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, for me, myself, I want to come to you next, Jason, as well. You talk about what you think one of the biggest things. I know you're running on affordability, and I honestly hate saying the word because I feel like the Democrats coined that term, even though they're the ones that caused it. They caused the affordability crisis, but then they start coining, affordability. Like, no, you caused it. But I know that you're running on that as well. And so what do you think is the biggest problem? I mean, if you want to touch on the illegal immigration, it's fine. But anything else that you want to run with that?
Sure. The number one problem in New Jersey, the Democrat Party.
There we go.
Right. They've been in charge of this state for a quarter of a century. So everything that's wrong is because of them. It's every decision that they've made, whether it's illegal immigration. They're the ones that are creating a sanctuary state. They've created the affordability issue. The cost of living is so damn high because of them, with the incredible spending, the high taxes. Everything that we have, every economic hardship we have is because of Democrat policy. So the number one problem with the state is the Democrat Party. If we get rid of them, we'll solve all of our problems.
Damn, we should. All right, show's over. It's ended right there. So, all right, so Justin, I'm going to go to you next too, because I probably know where you're going to go with it. But What do you got?
Well, Damon, I agree with what everybody has said. And unfortunately, New Jersey doesn't just have one problem. We have a long list of problems. And each one of you articulated a very thoughtful position and substantively pointed out what the problems are: illegal immigration, property tax, Democrat Party. Jason, you're right. They've had a majority in the state house for the last 25 straight years. And 16, 17 of those years have been also with Democrat governors. And we don't get blue collar Democrats. We get these far left Marxist liberals that want to make New Jersey California East. And, Hillary, you're right. I mean, the illegal immigrants, I mean, they're costing the taxpayers of this state, which, by the way, this is what happens when you lack political competition. They're not afraid to take over $7 billion and give it to non-citizens. A slap in the face to everybody that gets up and goes to work every day in New Jersey to pay their property taxes and the $60 billion a year Trenton budget, and then to try to live and retire in the state, which you can't do. That's a slap in the face saying, yeah, we did it, and you really can't do much about it because we know you're not going to take back control next year of the state house and state assembly, and we know you probably won't win the governor's race in 2029. This is what happens when you have no political competition. There's no consequence to their political actions, and that this is a major problem for New Jersey right now. Our political system is not functioning right. The government is out of whack. It's corrupt. It's overbloated with waste, fraud, and abuse. And then the problems just stem from there. How do we ever lower property taxes? Well, when you're giving away $7 billion to illegal immigrants, guess what? You're not going to lower property taxes for New Jerseyans. And that's a shame of it. And it's sad. I was thinking today, I was walking through neighborhoods. I've been on the street myself campaigning. I'm knocking on doors. Today I was in Medford, New Jersey, in Burlington County. And I was really sad. This is the town that I grew up in. I've been here since 1976 and Tabernacle since 1978, neighboring towns. And I was looking for a friend of mine, and she has a for sale sign on her house. And I'm thinking, how many friends of mine have moved out of this state because they just can't afford to live anymore, or the madness with the public education system? And we were in like this kind of death spiral. People just can't wait to get out of here. And it really made me sad. I'm like, this is where I grew up. I grew up with these people. We were friends. We went to school together, college together, high school together. We worked together. We go to the gym together. And so many of them now move out as a matter of necessity. And it's just really sad to see that the quality of life is really suffering, as Jason puts, under the Democrat Party. When you get down to it, the real brass tack is the Democrat Party. They put us in this mess, and they're incapable of solving it. And unfortunately, we can't inflict enough political damage on them yet for them to switch gears, change course, and actually start putting forward solutions that will benefit the working classes of this state. So it was sad to see people, and everyone has the same complaint. I can't live here. I pay property taxes. I mean, property taxes are so high. They're keeping people from being able to retire here or raise children here. And it's, we have solutions. We just don't have the political will or leadership in Trenton to implement anything that would make life better for New Jerseyans. So we've got a multitude of problems, but you all touched on substantively the aspect of each. It's the Democrat Party. It's illegal immigrants. And then, of course, from that, we get high property taxes. We get a public school system that's broken and failing. What else do you need? I mean, you get Mikey Sherrill. She's obviously just worried about trying to do what she can to obstruct the Trump administration. We've now codified being a sanctuary city. I mean, that is not madness. That is utter madness to codify, not just to have the executive order policy, but to have your legislative body pass a law that says, yeah, you can come here. Okay, it does nothing but attract criminals. So who puts up with the degraded quality of life with less safe streets? You and I, our children, our families, our neighbor. I mean, it's just.
Yeah, you're right, Justin. And the thing is, I think, and this is going to be open to everybody after this. Everybody jump in for anything you want to talk about after this. But I just want to look at my opponent in Norcross. No, he has the monopoly on everything. His tentacles are everywhere. He controls a lot of things. Yeah. And it's the same thing with the Democrat Party. They do. They made us a sanctuary state. Everyone knows why. Because they want illegals to vote. They're fighting against the SAVE Act because they want illegals to vote for them. They want to, and that's what it is. That's why they codified it in law that we're a sanctuary state. And that's a big deal And people don't realize that. It's a really big deal. And I wish that we can come up with something, and I swear I will try to, that if you're a sanctuary state and you allow an illegal immigrant that has a record or whatever, that is a criminal, not just a criminal from crossing our border, but already has a criminal record, and you don't deport him and get him out, you stop ICE from getting him, and they hurt somebody, then the government should be sued over that. The state should be sued over that. They have to be held accountable. And the people that let them out and let them be here need to be held accountable. And that's where I'm going with that. I will find a way to figure that out, how to put that into law, in federal law.
Well, we'll sponsor that bill with you.
Yeah, Damon, the accountability needs to come from the voter to kick these people out of office. And we have such a high level of apathy. We can't do that right now.
I know. Well, we need to get people out to vote. I mean, what is it, Justin? We have like what, 22 to 25% midterms Republicans come out to vote?
Well, you will have, I mean, if you look at an historical analog, most of your midterm elections have between 33 and 39, maybe 40% of people are upset about something of a turnout rate nationally, individually in states for midterm elections, which means you'll have well in excess of 60% of the registered voters sitting home this November not voting. That's just unacceptable to me. The apathy is really crippling. It's a dangerously high.
Yeah. Anybody else can jump in, whatever you guys want to talk about.
I think one of the things we could do to kind of help change that is getting people engaged in the primary to make sure we have the right candidates that will excite the base, can get people to come out, and especially getting those independent voters out there, right? Because far too often we'll get the establishment candidates that get elected over and over again. I think people should try something new. We got 5 amazing candidates right here that are very different, right? In New Jersey, a lot of Republican candidates, they'll run with 1 foot in and 1 foot out on really being conservative, on being America first. But if that was a winning strategy in New Jersey, we would have Republicans elected up and down this state. I think we need to try something different. I think people need to really get engaged in the primaries. On a low primary turnout, we might be looking at 5 to 7%. That's going to be the party insiders electing the candidates to be going into November. So we really got to do our parts. Everybody, get your friends, your neighbors, everyone out in the primary to make sure we're getting the right candidates that can go in there and can energize people and get people out to vote. It's the only way we're going to do this.
Yeah. Jason, I will guarantee you there will probably, in all likelihood, be well over 1 million registered Republicans that do not vote in this June 2nd primary. I mean, we'll have a turnout between 20 and 28%. And that means in excess of 1.2 million registered Republicans will be sitting home, not voting in the primary. That's insanity to me. It's absolute insanity.
Right. And then how many of those Republicans then in November are going to say, I can't believe this is our choices?
Yeah, right. I mean, look, not to bash the party, but, just as a, I mean, we're all running to the same water hole, looking for money, looking for resources, and it's tough. I mean, no one really thinks we have a chance, either at the Senate seat or the House seats. They're worried they're going to pump money into probably 3 congressional races. Damon and Gregg, I don't know if they're going to plan on, if the RSC can help you guys, and Hillary, I hope they can, but I think right now they plan on pumping a lot of money into Van Drew, Smith, and especially Tom Kean. Tom Kane's going to get the lion's share of money because they're scared to death of losing his seat. Now, look, I don't want to see him lose his seat. He's one of few Republicans. But what happened? What about you guys? What about Damon? What about Hillary? What about Gregg?
I agree with that 100%. And, honestly, that's the Washington machine. Let's be honest. The eagle represents us, right? It's 2 wings of the same bird. And what they're doing is they're protecting incumbency. And until we stand up and we actually challenge incumbency and we say, look, you can say anything you want as a Democrat, as an independent, as a Republican, but if you're re-electing the same person election cycle after election cycle, and then you're going and holding a sign that says no kings, you're a little bit of a hypocrite. No offense.
Yeah.
That is very hypocritical to say no kings when the person that's standing next to you, like you said, I think you said Norcross was at one of the, so was Pallone. Pallone was out there. Mind you, his brother is the mayor in Long Branch. He's been in office for as long as I've been alive. And he's on Democrat policies. So, for instance, let's bring up cannabis. I don't know how you guys feel about cannabis, but my stance on cannabis is I am pro removal of federal prohibition. I believe it should be removed completely because I want to cut out the black market and I want the New Jersey businesses to stop, having to live under this shadow business. I want to legitimize them because most states have already done this, right? So federal law needs to catch up. If you keep voting in the incumbents, they're not doing it. Not even the Democrat incumbents are doing it. So why? Why are they not doing it? So I think this is something that, we need to say as definitely when we have Democrat incumbents in to say, oh, well, some of the things that you actually support, they put forth no legislation. I mean, in my district, I have 3 Democrats running, including Pallone. The 2 others, honestly, they're very, very progressive and really to the left, but I'd rather even see them win than Pallone again, because it just means nothing's going to change. It means nothing. So I would say if they really want change in District 6, like, it's going to be me or a new face. It's not going to be Pallone. So
Yeah, I want to also touch upon something, Jason, to expand upon one of your points. I think one of the problems with the primaries having low turnout, I mean, in one respect, primaries are where elections in the general could be won, because we all know, every November, almost everyone says, these are the 2 candidates that we're stuck with, right? Ever since I can remember. And
Yeah.
and that's a little ways. So, but, the problem is because they have the ability, the incumbents or the establishment candidates, to usually crush new opposition with better ideas, like everybody in this room. And that's the problem is, we have actually a very good opportunity here to really make a statement in all of our races, because in a normal time, many of us wouldn't get very far off the ground with a campaign in the past. We had a sea change, which, I mean, part of it is from the bad news of last year, in my opinion, but other reasons too, that we didn't have a lot of people from the establishment or people who were, propped up or supported like that, like we've had even as recent as 2 years ago in the last congressional cycle. And now we've got so many fresh faces that are unafraid to share their ideas the way they need to be. I mean, that's why, for me personally, I'm very proud to be part of this coalition, because I think, this is where the change is going to start, is when we say, you know what, you're not getting those same old 2 choices in November. You are going to have some people who are not afraid to say what has to be done and be ready to do it and stare down any kind of either opposition or threats or anything else. We're going to make this happen. I think that's the way to beat certainly incumbents. Now, I have the luxury that my incumbent is retiring going into this election, so I actually have a little window there. And also, at this point, with the petitions in to be on the ballot, I fended off a couple of challengers to be the only one on our side on the ballot for the primary. The other side, they started with 16 people, and a full 13 of them made the ballot on the other side in the primary.
Jeez.
So I am looking forward to seeing them beat each other up, taking their material, and also spending a whole bunch of money before they even see me. But that is just my good fortune. But the point is for everybody. We have to make sure that this is a memorable election, that they see a bunch of new, fresh faces that are unafraid and not answering to anyone stand up and have a great showing in November. And that's what we're looking for.
No, you're right about that, Gregg. Absolutely right, 100%. And the thing is, the reason why I wanted to get everyone together and show like a united front of Republicans, is Republicans tend to run headfirst into a tree while kicking themselves in the ass when they have an advantage. And I think we really need to stick together. And look at the incumbent I'm facing, Donald Norcross. Now, that guy, he is entrenched politics. He's probably the most powerful politician in the state of New Jersey, I would say. Well, his brother really runs.
Is his brother the mayor?
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, so there's that. I know my chances of beating him are very slim. But all of us have jumped into this race because we care. That's why we're here. That's why we're doing this now. That's why I started this podcast. That's why our great producer, other Damon, man behind the curtain there, and other podcasters that are on this network, founders, started this network. Because my biggest problem is with media. Media, when I lost last night, I figured media is more powerful than politicians. It can be, because it's what people see, what they hear, what they watch. That's all they're getting. You watch CNN, MSNBC, and you get the same news every day. I mean, Jesus, my mother-in-law, I'm sorry, but you're probably watching this or you're going to watch it later. But yeah, she watches that. And she's like, oh, wait a minute. Donald Norcross just donated $1.6 million to, no, he didn't. He donated our tax dollars to something. So that's
you
what,
donated.
You donated.
he reached in my pocket, your pocket, and pulled it out, and he gave it to whatever it costs, that he wanted to make him more popular and get votes. And that's the same.
And buy votes.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. But people don't get that. And it's okay that they don't. I don't expect everyone to understand. I was never involved in politics my entire life. It's been years I have been now. But it's just the people don't really. They just want to live their lives. They want a nice. They want to have. Well, most people anyway, I would say, just get married, have children, and live the American dream. Even though we're losing that right now, I believe we are, and I want to get it back. But that's what a lot of voters. When we talk about the amount of Republicans that don't come out, I believe that's one of the big reasons. It's because they just want to be left alone and live their lives, and they don't pay attention. They don't want to get involved in this stuff. But the thing is, having a podcast like this and having a network is you have to push them, and you have to say, listen, this is what's going on. If you guys don't pay attention to it, you really have to get out the vote, because this is important. I mean, you're slowly losing, everything that you want in life, and that's a big deal. It's a big deal to me, and I'm sure the more we get the message out there to people, I think it'll be more of a big deal to them if they realize it.
If you don't,
go ahead, Gregg.
I was just going to say, if you don't act upon hoping for the best, you're going to have to expect the worst, and that's what it is. The complacency and apathy is a killer for any kind of change. So. Sorry, you go ahead.
That's okay. I was just gonna say, I was one of those people, kept my head down, go to work every single day, whatever, until I got an email one day working as a civil servant saying, you need to show us your COVID vaccine card or you're going to be referred to HR for removal. That's un-American, in my opinion. That's medical tyranny. And I will stand against that no matter what. And in 2022, that happened to be the same time that the border was open and I was working to help naturalize United States citizens. And I said, really? So my job is being counteracted. And now you're going to tell me that I have to consent to a medical procedure? Okay, I'm done. And I walked away and I prayed about it. And I said, how can I better serve? How can I serve my family? How can I serve my community? And I moved back home to where I grew up in Monmouth County. And now I'm here and I want to serve. And I just want to serve people. That's all I ever wanted to do was serve people. It wasn't until my rights started being infringed upon that I'm like, well, I can't just serve people because then I'm just going to lose all my rights. So I had to actually step out of, the executive branch and say, I want to change the laws. Because if you're treating people like that and taking away their religious liberty, if you're taking away any of the freedoms that are guaranteed to us in the Bill of Rights, then I'm going to fight that. So, that's what I stand for, especially parental rights. I want to know what's going on with my kids. I would say, yeah, I'm a little bit of a helicopter mom. I don't care. I'll be it. Because I want to make sure my children are safe. And I believe that, through my morality, that's the job that was given to me. But I also want to make sure everyone in my community is safe because I actually care about people. So I think that's what's missing here is a lot of the incumbents, they're detached from what's going on in their district. And I would say Frank certainly has that problem. He speaks a lot about all the changes he's going to make and everything, I'm going to do all these. Really? It's been 37 years. Yeah. Now, all of a sudden you have two progressive Democrats running against you that want to abolish ICE. But have you actually ever succeeded bringing an immigration reform bill to Congress? No, you haven't. So it's time to step aside because if incumbents in my district want that, I'm the perfect person to bring that because I actually worked in citizenship. So I feel like it's just, time is up and people just need to, I'm asking you to do something that's a little bit risky because people are afraid of change. But you know what change is? Change is growth, change is progress, and change is what America and New Jersey needs.
Right. Hey, and listen, I just wanted anyone that's posting in the chat, anyone can pick up after this, but I'm just saying, people are listening. You could post stuff in the chat box. The Ann just did. Said, go Damon, Hillary, Gregg, and Justin, and Alex, and Alex. So, but anyway, I just want to let everyone like and subscribe to the show. And you guys have a question for any candidates, you can put them in the chat box. We will bring it up and we'll answer that question. Or if you have a statement that you want to make about something that's important to you, we can throw it up on the screen. So, all right, let's continue. Jason, what do you got?
Term limits has come up quite a few times today, and I just want to make sure everybody out there at home watching this knows that you got 5 votes right here for term limits, and none of the incumbents we're running against are going to vote for it. And this is a Republican-Democrat thing that everyone's in agreement on. So you got 5 votes right here. We'll make it happen.
So what did it go, Alex? Ann, no, Murphy. Sorry, Ann. I just realized what that meant. And no, Murphy. So, all right. So, I just realized what that meant. I read it, but anyway, I don't care.
And what is that? Is that go Alex?
I guess it was Alex. Yeah, I know. But Ann, no Alex. Murphy. It's Murphy. I just realized what you meant by that. So,
was that Ann's comment says go Damon, go Hillary, go Gregg, go Justin, and go Alex.
Well, it says go Justin, but I don't know. I don't know. Jason, I don't know Justin to go. I don't know what she meant by that, Ann. So I don't know if you messed that up. But
Ann, what do you mean go Alex? Alex and Dan?
It says Justin and Alex. So I don't know. They're running against
no.
So.
He's one of my opponents. We got there's 4 of us running. So
and quick, hit the edit button.
Yeah. So how do you? All right. So Arlene says, how do you feel about the Convention of States? I do like the Convention of States. I think it's a very important thing. I didn't know a lot about it until a few years ago. I didn't realize that was like a kind of a backdoor thing that Congress put in there. If it wasn't working federally and the states come to, what is it, like 32 out of all the states have to come together to change something. I mean, I always like
34.
I like a safety net just in case. They always did. It seems like in our Constitution, our forefathers always put in a backdoor safety net here and there to where it can't get out of control. There's always something that can stop something. And that's where I'm at with that. So I don't know how you guys feel about that.
Yeah, I think more people need to be made aware of the Convention of States, because I don't think a lot of people really even know what it is. They need to start calling their representatives in their states and start calling for this damn thing, because it is the only way. If we can't knock these incumbents out of Congress that have been there for 30, 40, 50 years, it's going to have to be the states that change what's going on in there. And that's how we're going to have to do term limits, for example, right? It has to be a constitutional amendment. Is Congress going to vote themselves out of a job? Probably not. But through a Convention of the States, we can do that. We can get a balanced budget amendment. We can cure the 14th Amendment, which I don't understand why there's any debate over that, considering on the Senate floor during the debate for that, the author actually said this is not for foreigners. It was for children of slaves.
There's a debate for it because it's been used as an immigration loophole for decades. Yeah. That's why now there's a debate against it, because immigration enforcement, whatever. Think about it. DHS was just formed after 9/11, right? And ICE is a part of DHS. USCIS is a part of DHS, Citizenship and Immigration Services. First, it was INS. So now there's a debate about it because they started using it as a loophole. So it just took literally that long to get through, just like the SAVE Act. The SAVE Act has been around now for over a year. Then it became the Save America Act. Now they're gonna have a filibuster. Now they're gonna debate it. We should have passed it months ago. Like, just remove the old Senate rules, remove the filibuster. It's not in the Constitution. It's not even constitutional. They made it up. It's something they made up to stall progress. I think that's, maybe what sets me apart a little bit different is like, I don't want to say I'm progressive, but I want progress. I don't want the same old stuff going on. And that's what's going on is right now we have a Senate Majority Leader, John Thune, who is like, oh, we're going to, let the Democrats speak on it. And no, like, you have the majority, use it. In New Jersey, the majority does not cower from using the majority to ruin our state. They do not cower to, they're going to sign the sanctuary laws and they're going to send it to the governor and she's going to sign it. They don't cower. So what is it? What is the purpose of having a majority in the Senate and the House if we're not using it?
Right. And it's not even just Thune. I mean, there's other Republican senators that don't want to get rid of the filibuster either. So we can't even put all the blame on him. We have, I know I mentioned earlier the Democrats are the problem, but honestly, there's a lot of Republicans that are part of the problem too. We have to change these people out.
Yeah.
Right. They honestly,
Nothing can happen when you have a 2 or 3 seat majority. You know, to really be effective, you need 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 seat majority, because you know you're going to lose somebody. We're not really parliamentarian like Western Europe, so you always have to factor in you're going to lose a couple votes here and there. So like I said, you know, winning back control of each chamber was great, but to do it by such a thin margin, you know, there's going to be problems, you know, and our founding fathers wanted it this way. They designed us with checks and balances, federalism, shared power between government and states, federalism, checks and balances. You know, they created us this way to be methodological, deliberative, slow. They didn't want things to be moved through quick. And, you know, throw that in with a political class that's a greedy to hold on to political power. And yeah, we do have a problem with efficiency sometimes. But, you know, when you look at the Constitution, we need bigger margins to get anything done, because you know you're going to lose the Lisa Murkowskis and the Susan Collinses. They're just, you know, they'll be there for you maybe 60% of the time, which is fine out of the, you know, but, you know, Murkowski, to think that people of Alaska have reelected her. I mean, you should be able to get somebody more conservative out of there. Maine, you can see. Maine's an issue. Maine's a moderate state, split in two, basically. But that's, you know, we don't have, we don't have enough of a margin right now, which is why obviously this midterm is critically important. But, you know, we're designed a certain way too. We're designed with checks and balances, separation of powers, federalism, and that keeps things from passing along. Now, Hillary, I agree with you. I do not support the filibuster. I don't see the purpose of it. It cuts both ways. It can save your bacon. It can save you when you're a minority, but it can also put the constraints on you when you're the majority trying to get something done.
And what about the committees? Do you think the committees are working out great for us too?
The committees? I mean, like subcommittees and committees with jurisdiction.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, if you're a representative and you get elected to go to the House, right? And you're like, I have this really great idea for this legislation, and it's going to help my constituents. And you put it forward to the committee, and the committee just votes it down, and the American people never get to see it, and they never get to even vote on it. You know, the House.
One way around that.
That's a real, you know, we're a constitutional republic, but we have democratic processes, but where seems like there's gatekeepers to those too.
Well, there are gatekeepers, but there's one way around that. You can do a discharge petition where you take the bill and send it right out to the floor for a vote. Now, most members will not do that because it draws the ire of the chair and the committee and the leadership, and then you get the committee on the House grounds and the Capitol and the flower planting. You know, you don't get anything important. But you know, there are discharge petitions, and if you know, you can do that. But you know, a lot of representatives it's not used very often. But a discharge petition
it seems like when they get elected, they go up there, and then something scares them, or something makes them like not do what they said they were going to do,
or they're isolated. So, they don't. Yeah, you're isolated. Like you don't have the votes for. Like I always advocate for abolishing the Internal Revenue Code, abolishing the IRS, or at least the Internal Revenue Code, and having a flat tax. Now, if I get elected, I serve in Washington. There's 100 senators. How many are going to champion my idea? I think maybe a dozen. You know, I might get a dozen. It's up to leadership if they want to really prioritize the issue. Now, the Trump administration has alluded to this. Maybe it's time for an entirely new system of taxation. So you can be the seed planter. You can start the conversation and make sure that this idea is integrated into the Republican Party platform. But it is tough. Again, Hillary, it's like each house can make up their own rules. We've got committees with jurisdiction over issues, and some of them are fairly complex. But yeah, what do you do? I mean, other than a discharge.
Sorry, one more thing. Back to the Convention of States, because that's how this originally started, and it takes 34 states to be a convention, right? So currently, not to bring this up again, but I'm going to. Currently, 24 states have legal cannabis. That's 10 away from what you would need to have a convention of states on cannabis.
Cullen for president.
So I honestly think that, and look, honestly, like the hemp industry suffers, farmers suffer because of this. There are so many veterans suffer because of this. This is something that needs to be passed and it needs to be brought forward. And it can't be right now because it's still on a schedule. So, New Jerseyans overwhelmingly voted for this. So this is something that I hope when people go out to vote in District 6 this year, they look at Frank Pallone and they see how far he's actually pushed this, and it's nowhere. And they choose someone who will actually make change on the issue.
Yeah, I want to go back to the idea with the founding fathers and the structure of government, the intentional inefficiency of government, and the checks and balances. I mean, yes, they set it up that way so that rash decisions wouldn't get through right away as soon as you had a little majority kind of thing, right? But we have to remember they had the crazy idea that members of Congress would vote for their, whatever helped their constituents. And we know that that doesn't exist very much today. Everybody's, if you don't vote with the team and make everything about the numbers and the part, falling in line with the party, then you get ostracized or worse. And this is something that has to be overcome with just very tough spirits that will stand up to anything like that and say no. The voters come first. Yes, the truth is, when the results go through that way, those are the people that the voters will want to reelect again and again once they see that they will actually do what the people want and have some flexibility, at least in terms of the independence of thought and decision making, to go ahead and vote for what's right. I mean, when it's a constant game of this team against that team, instead of the individuals taking their responsibility seriously for who they represent, that's going to hold us up until we get to that next phase. And it's not going to happen overnight. There has to be vanguards that go in there now, like us, and make everybody see that we have some room to make some real positive change that people can feel right away, instead of you're the devil if you say you're on our team, but you ever vote against what we're campaigning, what we're aligning to. And people, for various reasons, some of them I'm sure do get threats, and some of them may get payoffs or whatever it is, but people fall into line once they get there because they don't have the will to stand for what they promised in the beginning before they got there.
Well, I would say that's the difference between, I would say, people like us, or at least I could speak for myself on this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if I serve one term. If I'm going to go in there and I'm going to do what's right, and I'm not going to get bought or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't get reelected because of that reason, then I don't. But I'm going to go in there and do as much damage as I possibly can. And what I mean by damage is change the system for the better for the people. And that's basically what I'm looking to do. And we have another question here, and I want to go into Ann said Murphy, so she said boo actually to Alex, and go was supposed to be go Murphy, but then she said Murphy/Cullen 2028 for president and VP, and then she said Hillary Herzig for governor of New Jersey. I mean, what am I? Skip. I mean, it's my show. I mean, come on. But we have a Justin. We have a question here from Engels. This is to you, Justin. You can say it there. Says Justin. So my question is, why would a flat tax be the best system for taxation? I understand the tax code needs reform, but why would a flat tax, everyone being taxed the same across the board, regardless of income, be the best system?
For a number of reasons. Number one, you have to look at what we have and what we're laboring under right now. We have an internal revenue code that is probably in excess of 10 million words. And not to mention all the regulations behind that are another million set of pages of paper that is absolutely indecipherable. And the entire system is so complex, it's burdensome. I think it's a downward pressure on economic growth. It's complex. It empowers the IRS with civil forfeiture powers. They can take something from you without any court process. The Internal Revenue Code needs to be abolished. And the first thing it does is it simplifies the system so people can understand it. They understand what they need to do to conform to the law, and it's a fair system. It's not confiscatory. It takes, in my opinion, flat tax of 10%, maybe 12 tops, but 10%. Now that broadens the base. Right now, we've got about half the taxpayers in America not paying federal income tax. Now, I'm okay with not paying federal income tax, but for lower economic earners on the lower rungs of the economic ladder. But simplifying the system would spark and produce an enormous amount of growth and infusion of wealth into our country. It makes it simple for people to understand, so they don't have to hire armies of lawyers and accountants to make sure they don't do anything that may come back to criminally bite them in the rear end. We don't want that. It's a progressive system, not really in the sense of ideology, but the example I give, if Damon, if you earn $100, your 10% is you're paying $10 in tax. Okay, Hillary, if you earn $1,000, you've earned 10 times the amount of money Damon does. You're paying the same fair flat rate, but you're paying $100 in tax, 10 times the amount that Damon pays. So nobody on the left should ever complain about this, because it's actually a progressive scale with a flat tax. The more you make, the more you earn. You're still that same flat fair rate that everyone has, but you pay more because you earn more. But it's not confiscatory. It doesn't get up to 30 and 39%, and then your state income tax in California 13%, and then 15% in addition to the payroll tax when you're self-employed. We have such a convoluted system. It does not do. It doesn't create wealth and doesn't promote job creation and business and entrepreneurship. So we need to simplify the system, make it fair. It should not, you get rid of all the loopholes and the special interest when you flatten your tax rate out. You keep deductions for mortgage and charitable. Everyone gets a huge standard deduction like you get now. That doesn't even change, but you get rid of this monstrosity that no one can even decipher and understand. One rule and regulation after another. And it seems to grow every year, becoming more complex, and nobody knows. You talk to one accountant, they'll tell you one thing, another one will tell you something different. You don't know who's right. You got to watch where you step. It's too complex. It could make you a criminal. IRS has way too much power. But simplifying the system, I think it is enormously beneficial. You simplify the tax code, you're going to increase economic activity enormously, which will result in more revenue to the federal government. This would be a huge tax cut for most people. You probably are right now with the flat tax system. You would probably have a standard deduction of about $50,000. Now that means if you're a family of four, husband and wife, and you're struggling here in New Jersey, okay, your first $50,000 of income, is federal income tax free. So let's say you make 80 grand a year combined as a couple. Okay, you're being taxed 10% on $30,000. Your tax bill is $3 grand. You write a check, you send it in, you're done. It's simple. It doesn't take up weekends of work. It doesn't take up stress. Oh my God, I didn't make my quarterly income tax payments. Now there's an 8% penalty. Thank you, Joe Biden. I mean, the system, as it's also, the current system allows those in Washington to control, and they control who gets the tax breaks, who are the special interest lobbies, who gets the tax breaks, who doesn't. You always hear the Democrats say, we're going to have targeted tax cuts to the green energy industry because, that's the future. No, that's their campaign donators. Exactly. That's the campaign donation. So that's what they're giving those people, the benefits, the tax breaks, the deductions, the credits, and all these, and the cash incentives, the grants, because they're voting for Democrats. So it empowers a political class to favor one American over the other. The flat tax takes power away from Washington and puts it back where it belongs, with the people, we the people, the sovereign authorities of this United States of America. First three words of our Constitution's preamble: we the people. Not we the political class, not we the judges, it's we the people.
You're right, Justin, by the way, right about all that. And the thing is, that's why we can even take it back to term limits again.
Yeah.
That's why we support that. Because
Damon, Engels has another, just be very quick here. Engels is asking, so where would we be able to recoup losses from a flat tax? Engels, we would not have losses from a flat tax. We would spark so much growth from a simplified tax code. Okay, businesses would kick our doors down to set up shop here. We have the most productive workforce, a simplified tax code, generally a safe country, great infrastructure. I mean, it's got problems, but generally, where else would you want to do business? But America, you simplify the tax code, we'll have a boom. Because tax reductions do what? They increase economic activity and they increase revenue. Happened for John Kennedy, happened for Ronald Reagan, happened for states that cut taxes, happened for George Bush, happened for Donald Trump. Every time we reduce taxes, we always have record level of revenue. So there's no cut, because remember, a tax cut is not a government expense. So we don't have to find a dollar for dollar. Tax reduction is not a government expense. It's the government taking less of what the private sector produces.
Yeah,
You're absolutely right.
I always thought that was one of the biggest insults when one of these members of Congress says, "How are we going to pay for a tax cut? How are you going to pay for me to keep my own money? Are you kidding me?"
They're economically illiterate. I mean,
I know they are. I mean,
economically
it's unbelievable.
illiterate.
I mean, listen, I work for a private business and I build commercial buildings. And if I ran my company that I work for ran the business like government ran their business, they won't be a business.
You'd be out of business.
Yes, and I build. When I say I build commercial buildings, I build government buildings as well. So, and it's different when you're dealing with a private developer. You know, private developer, you're building their building. They want it built as fast as possible. They want it in production. They want it done. They want to get it up and running, get your CO, so they can start charging rent or lease, whatever it may be, because they want it done. Because they have a loan from the bank, they want to pay it off, and they want to start making money. When it comes to a government building, no urgency whatsoever. They do not care. It's
they don't have to.
You ask a question. Oh, well, we're going to get around it. We have 30 days to respond to that. I'm like, 30 days? I'm like, what do you mean? I got a crane here that's costing thousands of dollars per day. And we have 30 days to approve this. We just bought 82 pilings to drive in the ground that you spec'd. You spec'd it. Said, buy these pilings. They're 65 foot long. Drive them in the ground and start the building. Well, we have 21 days to approve the submittal. I said, 21 days? That's what are you talking about? I said, you told us what to buy. We bought it. It's right here. It's right in front of you. But it's just all the red tape and all the stuff. It just, everything is bloated and costs too much money. So, yeah, the flat tax part, I mean, that's part of the same scenario as well. It's just, it will motivate people more to do their job. If everyone's looked at it the same way, okay, you make a little bit more money, and then you're going to pay the same 10% of what you make. I think that is a great way to go. It's a great way to look at it. There's no BS in between it. You can't get around certain things. There's so many tax laws and loopholes that people get around and they evade paying taxes, or sometimes, and maybe in your case, my case, pay too much in taxes because we don't know all these tax laws. You know, I can't imagine an accountant that knows every single tax law.
It's not possible.
Yeah.
And if you look at the tax, I mean, here, give you an example. Obamacare, okay, and I know it's not the tax code, but the Affordable Care Act, okay, anything but affordable. There were 2,200 pages to that legislation that no one read before they voted yes on. Not a single member of the House or Senate, the Democrat Party, read Obamacare. Those 2,200 pages of legislation. Nobody read it before they voted on it. Bad enough, you've got a 2,200 page bill. Behind that bill, you're probably over 10,000 pages in regulations to write the regulations to implement the bill. Same with the tax code. You've got a tax code that's monstrous right now. And then behind it, you got a mountain size full of IRS regulations, Internal Revenue Code regulations. How do you even have time to go through this to figure out if what you're doing is legal?
You don't, because they keep it complicated. That's the thing. I mean, you guys know
right.
Everything has to be complicated. It's just the more mess that they have in front of your face it's almost like a magic trick. Don't look over here, look over here. You know, and that's what it is. And they hide stuff in there, and that's what's been going on for a long time. Everyone knows that. It's just it's hard to stop. And then
I would say abolish. If they're going to abolish something, maybe not an agency, but abolish omnibus bills. Because literally, that's where they hide all of the spending that we don't need to be spending.
Mm-hmm. Omnibus, yeah. Now, we've got sunlight's the best disinfectant for sure. But, you know, my slogan when I speak to people, you know, we need a new generation of Americans to serve in Washington that think in terms of simplicity, not, hey, let's have another government agency, another government program, and another thing. Yeah, it's, you know, simplify things. And that's what, you know, people... You look at the liberal Democrats, few of them have ever had private sector jobs, and so they don't understand this. You know, they really don't. We need more business people to put their life on hold and serve in Washington, just so we have that citizen legislator that our founding fathers thought of. to make, because if now we have a government, a political class that's very distant from we the people. They're dysfunctional. They're self-serving. They're greedy for political power. They're arrogant. They're corrupt, criminal in some cases, and we're living with the results of that now.
So, all right, guys. Well, listen, we're getting close to the end of the podcast, but I want to let's see. Someone I put the word, just post something there. But how would you? I'll leave you guys with this question. Everybody will go around the room. Why should someone who disagrees with you politically consider voting for you? How would you win that person over? If they don't,
ladies first.
Okay. I know I'm throwing everyone's foot in the fire.
The hard ones.
This is a tough question. Like if people disagree with you politically, but it could be a percentage. They.
Well, I mean, it depends. What would they disagree with me politically on? So I would actually first I would start by listening to what they believe politically and why they believe that my political stance on that issue conflicts with them so much where they wouldn't vote for me. And then I would work to understand where they're coming from, because that's like the biggest part of it is like, look, when you say Democrat or Republican, I'll say this again, it's two wings of the same bird, right? Because not everyone fits into this Democrat or Republican. That's not the truth of the body of America. That is not the truth. But it is, when we go to the polls, what ends up happening, right? Is we're choosing one or we're choosing the other, because those in between usually never win, because we really have a two-party system. We have Democrats and we have Republicans, but we don't. We have Green Party, we have Libertarian, we have Independents, we have, now Socialists, we have all these things, right? But what is it that they like about one party or another that makes them vote that way? And I think that just figuring that out by speaking to individual voters and then asking them like, hey, like, what has the current representative in this district done for you personally? And why do you feel loyalty to him when he's been sitting in there for 37 years and his loyalty is to his donors, not to you as a constituent? So I would say for me, how I would work to win someone over, it's like, I just want to give someone an option to say, I believe in change. And if you believe in change, vote for me too. Because that's what you're going to get with me. I'm not going to go there and press a button because my party says to press this button. I'm going to go there. I'm going to read each thing. I'm going to do all the research. And then I'm going to ask my constituents, and I'm going to look for the feedback on my social media pages, on my TikTok, on my X, on my everything, and say, what are my constituents who live in my district saying about this bill? And then when I go to vote, I know I'm voting for the right people. And that's we the people, not the people in power. So that's what I would say as far as, what would be the specific issue. And then I would work to understand where someone's coming from. Because look, everybody, I would almost say in a way you're even born with like preconceived notions about certain things. And then throughout your life, you're influenced by them. Okay, well, what created that in you where you feel you want to vote this way? And here's what I can offer you. And this is the type of person that I am. Because at the end of the day, I'm just a mom. I'm just a wife. I'm just an American citizen. And I'm just trying to serve my constituents. So.
Nope. And you mute yourself or something? I lost you for a second there, the last couple words.
No, that was it.
Okay. No, okay. Now I hear you now. It's like you were muted for a second. But all right, let's go around. Jason, let's go to you.
So I'm just going to expand on a couple things that Hillary said, because I think she's spot on. So there's independents, there's Democrats, libertarians that do agree with us on some issues, right? We have to find what those issues are and talk to them about those issues. So in sales, there's something, it's called critical selling skills. This is what I use day in and day out, where you ask open-ended questions to people and just kind of sit back and let them talk. And that's how you can kind of find out where they are and where they might align with you. And I'll give you a quick story. It happened a month ago. This was in Mercer County at an event that two of the local GOP clubs had. This woman had come in and she said, hey, can anybody come in here? They said, of course, everyone's welcome to come in. She said, but I'm a Democrat. said, it's fine. Just, everybody can come in. To Hillary's point, a lot of people have these preconceived notions. Like, she didn't think that Republicans would have let her in the first place. So you should have saw the look on her face. And she's like, all right, cool. I want to see what these guys are talking about. So I got to talk to her about 5-10 minutes before the meeting started. Super sweet lady, but super far to the left. She was telling me what a great job Mondani was doing. But we had a real good conversation. I was asking her some good questions. They actually invited her to come back a month later to the candidate forum they were having. You know how hard it is to get anybody to do something a month out, right?
Yeah.
And in politics, and for the other side. She showed up a month later, and she actually got to ask the first question, which was on term limits. And she said, listen, before I get started, I want everybody to know, why I came back. She was, Herb Conway, who's my opponent in November if I win the primary. He had a town hall tonight, but I skipped it to come here tonight specifically to hear Jason speak because of the conversation that we had. And when I was talking to her, I found out what was important to her: term limits, accountability, and the future for her grandchildren. So those are the things that I talked to her about. And after the forum, she said, honestly, if you win the primary, I'm probably going to vote for you, not because I agree with everything you say, but I trust you more now after talking to you that you will do the things that we do agree on. We have to talk to people.
Yeah, it's called dialogue.
Yes.
And you just don't get that today. People are too narrow-minded in too many cases.
Yeah, I feel like, the divisive rhetoric, and I mean, the legacy media does not help with it, right? They divide us all by category, by race, by all these things. I mean, even running, I got a thing that said, like, what race do you want me to identify you as? I said, you could just identify me as an American, because I don't want to be identified by my race, to be honest. So this is something that, I feel like the divisiveness of it doesn't help either side. And sometimes it can even lead to political violence, which we've seen in the past. So what we do is we need to talk to every single voter. I don't care if you're a Democrat. I don't care if you're a Libertarian. I don't care if you're a Republican. I don't care. I'm willing to have a conversation with you, to share my views with you. And if you don't agree with me, you don't have to vote for me. But I want to hear where you're coming from so I can better understand, if I do win, the constituents in my district. Because if you win, you're not representing just Republicans. You're representing Republicans, independents, unaffiliated, anyone who's in your district. You're representing everyone. So I think it's really important that, we do listen. So I agree with Jason very much on that.
You're right. And Gregg, I'll go to you next with that question. But
Yeah, I think, the concept of the listening tour, how do you serve people and represent them if you don't know what's on their minds, right? So we do have to get out there and listen. And I mean, I learned to listen when I was a very young boy, and refined through my career now that it's the key to success in representing people is, they guide the agenda. You have to represent your people ahead of your own interests many times. But, the key to part of that, I mean, it's one thing, like, for example, in my district, there are quite a few urban centers who traditionally vote Democrat, and I've got to overcome that. And part of it is not just having the occasional event in like a central place and try to invite people. Many will not hear about it, or even if they do, they won't go. So, you have to go to the homes. You have to, knock on the door, say, I'm really interested to find out what is troubling you these days, what has to be addressed, because I'd like to be the person who addresses it for you. The other thing, it was actually during the petition gathering, signature gathering, I went to one house, and a guy came out, and he was clearly left, Democrat, and so at first I said, okay, I'm trying to get signatures. I need Republican signatures. I'm running for the Republican primary. So if you are a Republican and you want to help me out, that would be great. And usually people who are trying to be fair and have a fair conversation, the first thing they might say, and if he wants to talk, that's fine. But you usually would say, well, I am a Republican, or I'm actually not a Republican, or I'm this other, party or whatever. And instead, he's like, what is your position on Iran? And then went into a few other issues. And he was never going to answer me if I stayed there all day, but I stayed a little while because I wanted to show him that we can have conversation, and certainly we're interested in listening. And I mean, the tip off for me that, yeah, I mean, there was no, showing him new information and trying to convince him of something based on merits, was he said he read this Times article. And I was just like, definitely compromised with following that rag. So, but yeah, I mean, yeah, at the end, he said, "Look, I hope you lose," and I was like, "Well, sorry you feel that way, because I'm ready to talk to you about what is going to help everybody, not just the Republicans. I mean, yes, you represent everyone, and it's the biggest point here is we need to talk to everyone because that's who we have to answer to. And so, to me, I just, I feel like we need to have those conversations. I mean, as many, one-on-one, knock on the door kind of thing or whatever. In addition, though, to these other like town hall meetings, like this, but also with live one with people in the room and all that kind of stuff, and get the variety of people to get the variety of ideas of like, what are the problems? And then we can come up with, okay, well, we keep hearing about this problem being a big issue in this area, then formulate our response of, this is how we can really effectively deal with it. So it's a lot of outreach. It's a lot of legwork, of course. I mean, we're all going to be exhausted, and we're all going to, take a nap the day after November's election. But, it'll be worth every minute as long as we can reach as many people as possible and let them know that we are legit. We love the idea of serving people because it's in our blood to help. And, that really needs to be the priority. And then, right behind that, hopefully as many skills as we can gather, either already or over time leading up to the election, to show that we are not going to land there and have no idea which end is up, that we're going to know what we have to do. We're going to have a good idea of how everything works and how we work within that to get to the achieved goal that we want.
You're right there. You couldn't have said it any better, Gregg. You couldn't have. And before I get into it, I just want to say Ann just posted again. So she has our whole future cabinet going. Hillary's going to be.
I was going to say she got me a job now.
Vice President, your Secretary of State. What am I?
Yeah.
I forget what they will be as. Speaker of the House. I am now. So thanks, Ann. I appreciate your enthusiasm. So,
Damon, Speaker of the House. Love it.
But no, you're right about all that. And the main thing is to have the conversation, and that is my biggest struggle with people. I can't get a Democrat on this show. I can't. They will not come on. I begged and pleaded for Democrats. Some people, they said, "Yeah, we'll come on," and they wouldn't. And I'm like, "Why? What are you afraid of? I'm not going to attack you. I'm not going to burn you. I'll even let you talk. I want to just have the conversation." But they won't. And when I say they won't, it's the far left that really won't. But a regular Democrat, common sense Democrat, like a John Fetterman, I'll give him that. John Fetterman was a shock to me. When he came out of the stroke and stuff, and he's a common
Are you
sense
allowed to have a favorite Democrat? Because he would be mine.
Yeah, he'd be my favorite Democrat. I mean, I don't want him. I don't want him to become Republican. No, stay Democrat and make sense out of that party, please. I want you to stay there, John. So to stay there, make sense out of the party, because they're all going too crazy. But the main thing is, if you have a conversation with a Democrat, if they'll actually have one with you, and they'll give you time to debate back and forth a little bit here and there, telling you what they're for, what you're for. In the end, you're going to find out if they're a common sense, I'll call them a Reagan Democrat or whatever it may be. You're going to find out that you align on a lot of views. It's not. It's just everything in politics. Republican, Democrat has been so polarized, and it's been so culturally defined at this point to where it pits the parties against each other. Now, yes, the one side have different views, the other side has different views here and there, but the main goal is to do what's best for our state, our country, and so forth. And now it's become so divided to where people won't even have a conversation with you because you have an R next to your name. I mean, I'll say this now, and I don't care what anybody says. Republicans will have a conversation with anybody, and I don't care if you say, "Oh, no, it's Republicans won't. They don't want to talk." No, I'm giving the heck what you say. Republicans will talk to anybody. I will. I know you guys will. Some
Yep.
far left Democrats, in their mind, see the R, shut down immediately. You're the devil. You're a racist. You're a Nazi. You're this and that. Because they're all it's ingrained in their mind through mainstream media, and that's got to stop. But when you actually talk to someone, friends, I used to be a Democrat. I was born and raised that way. I was in the union in 2014. I switched parties because I didn't leave them; they left me. That's basically what it is. But it's still, you go back to the JFK Democrats, and even Ronald Reagan was a Democrat as well. One of my favorite presidents ever. I got his speech on my wall right next to me, and it's just common sense. It's really, you don't have to focus on the party so hard. I know Trump polarized everything. I know he did, and it was like the hate Trump, TDS, Trump during it is real. It is definitely real, and they just emphasized it so much, and the media did it so much. They divided every American in this country over an R and a D, and that's what we have to get around. And listen, I'm willing to work with Democrats. I mean, yeah, I might not agree with them, but listen, you can't agree with everybody. If you agree with everything somebody says, then you're a puppet. You're not a leader. You have to figure out what's best for your constituents and fight for them, and that's what we're all here doing. So I just wanted to get that out there because it's just, if you can actually stop for a second, have that conversation, and just take it in, because maybe I can teach you something. Maybe you can teach me something. That's basically what I want to say to everybody, because I'll listen to you, because I might learn something from you. If you say something like, "Hey, I never thought of that," that's where it needs to go. And I think that's the most important thing that we need to do in this state, in this country, and to get the message out there. Yeah. So Justin needs to answer, and I know he's coming. And is she on your payroll or something? Next.
I love you, Ann. We love you. We love you. We love Ann. Damon, when I look at a voter, and I do try to gauge and judge where they're at, because look, number one, you have people that are just not receptive to you, and you just, okay, they're not going to speak with you civilly, rationally, with an open mind to engage in debate, learn and exchange, understand you, express their opinions to you civilly. They won't. So you have that block of voter out there that are just not receptive. They're too myopic. They're too TDS. The other is, are they even receptive? Do they even want to talk to a politician? And unfortunately, there's a very large number of voters out there that don't want to. They don't care what Justin Murphy has to say, or how much money he spends, or what he has up on his social media platforms. He doesn't. Some of the voters just don't care. Now, and then I have the other block of voters where I take the initiative, and I realize I do not have common ground with the far left of this country. And unfortunately, that is the makeup of the Democrat Party today. How many John Fettermans are out there? Him, it seems like. Yeah, one, until he's primaried next year or two, and an AOC-inspired candidate beats him, because that's all that the base of the Democrat Party wants to nominate. So you have the, and this is what I do to protect my own. Like, yes, can I work with people? Absolutely. Can I pass a flat tax that will be 12% instead of 10%? If it means to get the system through, yes, I would probably do that. But you don't throw away your core convictions. But you have these people that, I have to step up and say, I do not have common ground with people that want an open border, that want to weaken this country internationally and militarily, that, want the Green New Deal, that are, abortion without restriction, that want to pump CRT and DEI in the federal bureaucracy. I have no common ground with people that want to use the power of government to punish their political opponents. I have no common ground with people that want to raise my taxes, or I have no common ground with people that are promoting and fighting for, the objectives of the Marxist left, which is to basically destroy the family unit. I have no common ground with people who wage war on parental rights. I just don't. So this is where I can sharpen what I stand for. Now, how do you win people over? First, are they receptive to you? Are they willing to even engage you in a civil debate? And unfortunately, right now, our political culture is lacking that. Yes. That's a sad commentary. I mean, I knock on doors. I've been knocking on doors for weeks now, and even with Republicans, I have people tell me, I hate Republicans, registered voter. I hate Donald Trump.
Yep.
If you're with Trump, I'm not voting for you. And that's it. The door closes. It's not, I can't say, hey, well, what about his policies and you don't like the guy? You don't even get that far with people today. You don't get the dialogue. So there's very little dialogue. Social media exacerbates the agitation. And then you get stuck with a group of people who are not receptive, that you don't have common ground with, and then are apathetic. So, my God, what do you do? I mean, how do you do this? How do you really reach these people? And unless they're receptive, you don't have a choice. I mean, I can talk with people. I love to do it. I love to engage. I don't become angry if somebody thinks differently than me. But unfortunately, I'm never really met with that. I mean, I can't imagine if I win the primary, like, where do you go to speak to Democrat voters? I think they're not going to want to hear from me in large part. The Democrat that left that party, I have to find and talk to that person and inspire. I always speak about inspiring voters to vote for the Republican Party. And yes, you have to get the message out. But as far as how do you engage with them, it's exceedingly difficult today because of the political climate.
No, you're right about that. And before we wrap this up, I just want to say one thing. What you said about people asking, I ran into that a lot. When I knocked on doors to get my petition signed, they would say, "Are you a Trump Republican?"
Yeah, are you a Trumper?
Yeah, did you? Yeah, and I said, "Well, no, I'm Damon Galdo. I'm running for Congress." And they're Republicans, and they're like, "Well, did you vote for him?" And I feel like telling them it's none of your goddamn business, but. But I can't say that. So right. Anybody out there, this is my view, not anybody else's.
Yeah, they're going to hold it against you.
That's what I wanted to say. But I'm like, okay, fine. I'm going to be honest. But yeah, I did. What did I have? I had two choices. I had Kamala and I had Trump. Yeah. So who'd you vote for? I didn't ask you that. Did you not vote at all? I would assume if you're a Republican, or did you vote for a Democrat? So yeah, that is an issue out there. The TDS is real, and it's got to go away. He's done in 2.5 years, roughly, whatever it may be, and it would turn out and someone else would be in there. Just let the whole Trump thing go. All right?
Did everyone
make America great again?
Did you read his Easter tweet, Damon, on I guess it was on X, or his Easter tweet?
Probably Truth Social or something.
Yeah, it was pretty rough. I mean, that he dropped a few F-bombs in there. I'm like, wow, okay. Now it doesn't.
Well, you know what? I guess why not at this point? When you're that old. And you're termed out as president.
He's not up to re-election. He doesn't care.
Yeah. So I guess it is what it is at this point. So I whatever. Just don't mess us up in the midterms, Trump. Please get this.
Well, you know what? Look, we're looking at a lot of Republicans who are unfortunately going to sit home.
Yeah, I know that's a problem. It's a big problem.
I mean, look at what all of us are doing.
And the thing is, I want to put out there before we go around the room until everyone can say, how to reach you and get to your website and campaign. Somebody asked about, is anyone getting support from the NJGOP? And I would say that's a 0.
No.
Yeah. And the thing is, listen, I'm not attacking. Oh, you are?
Well, I mean, I got endorsed. I got the endorsement from 3. Okay. Yeah, I got the endorsement from 3 counties. I know Justin got endorsed by multiple counties. Gregg, I don't know, but Jason, you got endorsed by.
When they say NJGOP, they mean the state party, the state.
Yeah. Oh well, I mean, probably like if they're gonna endorse, it would be like after.
Well, not endorse, like help.
Money.
What I mean, what I'm getting from that is because someone said they're $120,000 in debt, and then somebody said that Jack must have spent it all or whatever.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
and lost.
I get it. I've talked to them again. This is nothing against the Republican Party whatsoever. I know what shape we're in, but we need to do better. The NJGOP needs to do better. The NRC needs to do better. I mean, NRC needs to do better. We need to raise money. I know that there's money out there. We have more money than the Democrats. Last I heard, not in New Jersey.
The RNC.
The RNC, yeah.
RNC, yeah. Nationally, the Democrat Party is broken in debt, and they should be. And the RNC is pretty flush with cash.
So I'm telling everybody right here, right now, I don't care. This is not anyone else that's on this podcast. This is me. This is Damon Galdo, nobody else. All right. The NJGOP needs to get off their butts and figure out a way to get Republicans elected. because this is not an easy thing. I understand that it's not easy what you do either, but we all have families, and we have other things. We have full-time jobs. We're out there putting our necks on the line, and we're going to work for you, for the constituents out there that we're willing to represent. So we need help. So it's time to get off your butts and figure out a way to help us out. All the state committee chairs, everybody. I know the chairs of my county are very helpful. They've been doing great. It's awesome. Thank you guys, Kim and Adam and all that. But the state committee chairs, it's your job to raise money for candidates. Now, I don't have a primary candidate. Hillary, I don't think you do either. Gregg, I don't think you do either. Justin and Jason, I know you guys do. So I know they're not going to help you out in the primary because of that reason. But we are past the primary. So the ones that are past the primary already, let's get going. We need to help. We need to move forward. It's go time, because we're not doing this to lose. This isn't Vegas. We didn't come to lose. We're going to win.
I mean, one of the
I think
biggest
you should have said
problems.
Atlantic City.
Well, Atlantic City. Yeah, there you go. Better. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the biggest problem is the powers that be have decided which races are written off as just unwinnable in their minds, and it's unfortunate because that's what keeps it there. So, there's so much talk this time. One thing I have a problem with is so much talk about defense of the existing seats we have. We need to be going for new ones. We need to flip them our way and get a bigger majority. This is crucial now more than ever. And there's not much talk I hear about it in terms of the party throwing resources at races that are tougher to win. And we don't have the incumbent on our side. But we've got to expand that map, because that also gets the Dems to spend money in those areas that they thought were safe. So there's a big benefit